They talk about sprawl. We use that, we talk about sprawl.
No, we did not, yeah.
One of the things that they're trying to fix with the Sustainable Communities Initiative is that the evils of sprawl. Now, we found one of their documents that defines sprawl as 3 houses per acre. That was not enough housing, so it was not compact enough. That was considered sprawl. And they want to eliminate sprawl, and the plans that will come out of this program will be intended to nudge people towards compact and dense housing. It will. And it's also tied together with rewilding programs where they will take areas where people live and they will literally turn them back into wilderness.
And New Hampshire already has a wildlands wildlife project. If you go on the DES website and put in wildlife, every town has a wildlife map with reds and greens. And the overall intention is if you live in the red area, that eventually there will be no houses in the red areas.
Well, I would like to thank you all for this, for giving us a preview or preliminary for what we're up against here, and what we're going to be undergoing in the next, well, few months, I guess.
Are you going to, has the Regional Planning Commission made a presentation to you?
No, they're about to, next month.
Could I respectfully make a suggestion?
Well, go ahead.
I would respectfully suggest that you not share with them your current knowledge from tonight, and see if they share with you any of the information that you've heard from us. And my bet would be that they will tell you, unless they see these videos, they will tell you that this is a bottom-up program that is voluntary and advisory only. And if there's nothing to see here, sign the document and let's move on.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that anyway. My grandmother was the first woman speaker of the House in the state of Connecticut in 1953, and she said, keep your mouth shut and your ears open. That was the best advice she ever gave me. I don't follow it, but it was great advice. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Let them do what they're going to do. No sense in giving them your salvo before they even... Anyway,
Are we required by law to even let them in here?
pardon me?
Are we required by law to even let them give that presentation?
They were invited.
Nobody's required by anything yet by law, but it would probably be in our interest to go ahead and listen to the spiel anyway.
And I remember we did invite them and try to
Yes,
accelerate that.
we did invite them, and they were going to come anyway at some point. That's on the agenda. So we were going to have a meeting amongst us to discuss this. I think we should briefly do that anyway. Planning board members, that was, we were going to review the information that we received from Ed and listen to all the things that were said and talk about our findings. And it's a public meeting, so anybody's welcome to listen to what our opinions are. So,
Mr. Chairman, you skipped over public comment. Maybe this would be a good time for it.
well, we had, I said we were going to do public comments. Basically, public comments, everyone here that's a member of the board is a member of the board, and everyone else had the opportunity to ask questions and make comments, so I don't see any reason to revisit that at this point.
Okay, well, I see members of the public here that
Well, they
didn't say anything.
had their time to ask questions, and people asked, would you like to ask questions? Yeah, so, I think that at times we may want to put a hearing on this at some point. At this point, I don't think we should check out. They're going to go into the public comment section.
Excuse me, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I want to apologize about that phone call.
Oh, no.
That never happened. If that happened when I was in New Hampshire or in Concord, I would have to get up in front and apologize to everybody because my phone went off. So I'm very sorry I forgot to turn it
No,
off.
that's okay. I leave mine at home for that reason.
I usually do, but I did have one tonight. I'm
No,
sorry.
Sustainable Communities Initiative, Granite State Future Agreement. Member comments?
I need time to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
That is a lot to
digest.
Oh, it's enormous amount.
And my comment would be that as Brookfield's commissioner, I was not briefed on this at all. This was not brought up to any of the other commissioners. It might have been brought up to the executive board, but it wasn't brought up to us. I had to ask the question. So the RPCs are going out, and they're going directly to the towns without even going through the commissioners.
Trying to keep you from forewarning.
I believe so. Now, I have to hand these out. This is a direct memo from the APA main body, the National Association of Regional Associations. They're no longer going to use the terms that we're familiar with. We could just.
Well, you do realize that at the moment, the legislative and enforcement bodies in this town are leaning toward not accepting this kind of thing from without. That's kind of where we are at the moment. So you haven't wasted your time here.
I don't feel that I would have wasted my time either way, sir. I appreciate the opportunity, and to be quite honest with you, I believe that our government should truly be represented in the form of government, and I'm honored that I was invited to come here and speak. I do not live in this town, so I do not, my goal is not to try to persuade you one way or the other, but to present facts to you so that you can make a more informed decision that would best represent the people of your community.
We appreciate the message.
And we thank you. We're about to get inundated, I think, over the next several months with all kinds of great stuff. So we'll be sitting here listening. Although this board doesn't really have anything to do with signing anything at the moment. It's this board of selectmen that get to do that in this town. But
Right, and as with Wyndham, but I would hope that they would look to you for your guidance and advice.
well, they were here this evening, a couple of them, and still are actually. But any member comments beside what we
Was your comment just to hand that out?
No, I just wanted to read a little bit of it. Basically, the APA, who runs the RPCs, are no longer going to be using these terms. So when they come on the 9th, or when you hear from them in the future, they're no longer going to use the Agenda 21 term. No more collaboration, no more consensus word, no Delphi technique, density, livable, localized planning, long-term, regional-wide planning. No organize or facilitate public visioning, you're not going to use that term anymore. Now, all this is happening, no more smart growth, they're not going to use those terms anymore, because they realize that people are seeing the pattern.
So you're gonna dumb us down a little bit?
So they're going to try to change the, they're going to change it and disguise it, basically. So, and this is all related to the APA's Agenda 21 boot camp. Now, I paid my $90 to go and take this boot camp, because I'm not an APA planner. It's all full of inaccuracies, and it's their attempt to head off any dissent. No one can ask the questions. I asked Cynthia Copeland of the Regional Planning Commission, does this have something to do with Agenda 21? And she said, no, it's all federal mandates. So this is where we're leading to, but obviously there's an effect to people dissenting because they're coming up with a new way of speaking.
My curiosity drives me to wonder, when a bunch of people in little towns like us who lean in that direction don't accept this thing, what are they going to do then? Are they going to legislate it into being whether we like it or not, or what's the deal? That's what I'm curious about. Nobody has that answer. They wouldn't expect it. But sooner or later, the dissenters are going to be classified, and then we're going to say, now what are we going to do about them? So it'll be interesting to find that one out down the road, a short piece.
I'm sure that the pressure will be put on us from all forms of directions in order to get us to assent to their whims. If you go back through history and look, how do you take control of your populace?
Well, we'll find
I
out.
mean, we have huge lessons in history. If you're a student of history, you have huge lessons. I mean, look at the Nazi Party and what they did.
Yeah.
when you have emperors, look how they controlled their populace. So, I mean,
Well, it's not called socialism in the old days, it was called slavery. Socialism is a nice new word for it, but hey, we'll see. Can only take it as it comes. Does anybody else want to discuss this more? Or we've pretty much filled up with info here, and it's pretty discouraging to watch or listen to, or not, I don't mean it the way it sounded.
I didn't take it that way.
I would like the board, after they've had a chance to discuss and review all of this, to make its recommendation to the Board of Selectmen in writing on how they would like the town to proceed.
Can I say that we would probably be happy to do that after someone presents you guys with something?
No, that's fine, and that's what I mean, though. Before the board takes any kind of action on it,
Yeah, we'll be happy to do that.
I would like to see, I would like a recommendation from the planning board. Because theoretically, this is all supposed to be about planning, right?
Right.
We'll do that.
Why are we all letting ourselves be directed by people that aren't even elected government?
We're not letting it happen yet. Not us, anyway.
Why are we entertaining this? How have they even gotten as far as they've got?
Well, we haven't won yet.
There is an adage, there is an adage. I understand what you said, why do we let them come in and give us the speech if we already know our mind and direction? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm not. This whole thing in general, where have these people come from, and who are they to direct our livelihoods and life and property?
They're the same people who try to enact laws that's gonna tell you how to live your life because they don't believe you know how to live your life.
That's right. These aren't even elected people. They don't represent us.
Or because your life is better than theirs, they don't want that.
It's called slavery.
Well, anybody can come to Brookfield and live here.
We have affordable
This-
housing. If you can afford a house in Brookfield, you're welcome to live here.
That's right. If it
So,
wasn't affordable, none of us would be here.
But see, you know what the whole thing is, a plan to gerrymander. If you take the poor people and you move them into the place where the rich people live, and you can accumulate enough votes there to defeat voting blocks in places, that's what this is all about, strategy to change the voting, it's gerrymandering. And they can't actually gerrymander any district that large, the rural areas. So they're going to infiltrate them this way, and when you get enough poor people and enough rich people, they can motivate the vote through social organization. That's what Obama does for a living. Yes, Bill?
It made me think of a thing I read about somewhere, Westchester County, within a year ago, where certain minority groups get multiple votes in elections.
I didn't hear that.
You know, there's
Some
some-
areas of New York.
Yeah, there's some place, some city, I think it's in Westchester County, and there were certain minority groups that felt they were being treated unfairly. So in local elections, they get to have multiple votes.
Right.
their vote counts.
I read this about, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, I just couldn't believe it. I said, this is absolutely off the wall. There was some suit that was brought about, and when you guys were talking about New York, I said, another example.
Well, my nephew was personally responsible for college people voting multiple times in Ohio during the last presidential election. He was personally responsible for that because my brother called me and told me to get on the phone and yell at him because I'm his godfather, but it didn't do much good. And dead people, too. Yeah, dead people. Anyway,
The question was, why are we doing it? And it all goes back to the fact that the state is taking money from the federal government, HUD. Therefore, if you take the money, and the state is not refusing the money, they put the application in because they want the money. And now they're using that money to manipulate the zoning and planning.
Sorry, so was it the state that put in this, for this grant that's running this, or this was the RPCs?
I believe it was the state and the RPC.
No, the RPCs.
National.
Only.
So they just on their own autonomously just said, we're gonna go to HUD, take money.
The only way to get the money was for regional planning commissions to get it and MPOs to get it. They wrote the organization to circumvent.
the money isn't the issue, though.
No, it is. Our taxpayer dollars, $200 million, whatever I don't know what the size of the grant pool was, but it's a ridiculously large amount of money. Our tax dollars are being used by unelected people to drive this down our throats and take away our property rights and our liberty.
Croc TV.